Okay, so your study should address a clear gap or present question. We will do how to see a gap later. So your topic should address a gap or target a present question. Like something right now, you know that there are a lot of trends, like currently what is happening in the United States, geopolitics, trade tariffs. You see, those things, currently, if you write a study on geopolitics, it will go through. I wrote a study, I think I will share that study, maybe it will benefit some of you, on political economy and renewable energy. And I based my argument on currently US, China, Russia tension, the geopolitics, how is that affecting renewable energy deployment? And the first journal I submitted the study to, it went through. Because currently, journals need studies on geopolitics. Currently, they need studies on that. Studies that address geopolitics and that. Geopolitics and investment, geopolitics and health, geopolitics and blah, blah. You see, those things. Currently, it is needed. That's what is happening. Trade, tariffs, war. It's not even about war. Like tensions, conflicts, Russia-Ukraine war, those things are pressing. It is needed. Like the COVID-19, when COVID-19 came, there was a lot of studies on COVID-19. Now the COVID-19 is no more. Maybe you can write a paper on post-COVID-19, or you can do analysis on pre and post-COVID. You do analysis on pre and post. You see those things, if you have data and you do it, it will go through. That's what I was trying to say about the relevance. Your topic or your study should be relevant. If an editor is reading it, but right now, if you go and do, let's say, let's move on. If you go and do something on something which is not needed, or it's not that serious matter, it will not go through. And right now, those who are into finance, you can write papers on cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and those things. It will go because it is needed. Please hope you are okay, Timo.
Yes, I'm okay. Thank you.
Okay. And the feasibility, as I said, is really important. You can have a concept. Maybe you want to do like what is happening between the US and Venezuela now. You said you want to do the impact of the US tension in Venezuela. Which data are you going to use? You cannot. So it's not just the topic, it's about the feasibility of that topic. Maybe you want to use like the geopolitics I'm talking about. You have the concept in your head, but look at the feasibility and the time you need to finish that study. It's important. You can have a concept and data will not be available for such concepts. And a lot of people have shown me a lot of works, which if I look at the work, what comes into my mind is, but what data are you going to use for this study? The moment you cannot answer that question, then you have to throw that concept away. Because you cannot write a paper without data. So especially when you are writing paper for developing countries, like our own, Ghana, Togo, Burkina Faso, those small countries in Asia, Africa, South America, and those, you have to ensure that there's data available for that before you proceed. And impact potential. What contribution or impact is your study making? These things, if we talk it, you will not understand it until you have started writing your own work. That's where you understand these things. A lot of our studies, we submitted it and they brought it back. And every day, the reason is it's not novel enough. It's not contributing to knowledge. we can't see any novelty. You don't understand it now, but you understand it later. So take it from here. We have one study I wrote with my professor and Frank on carbon emission. We wrote it like 6 months ago. If you look at the paper, the structure, I showed it to, I think, Douglas the last time. Douglas was even saying, hey, how? Because the models that we used in the study, you would think that this study, when it goes, is supposed to go through. But over 6 months, we have submitted this paper to a lot of journals. Now we are thinking of dropping it somewhere. Because they will bring it back. They say that this idea is already there. The novelty is low. Though the paper looks robust and strong, but they will tell you that the novelty is very low. And you have to throw the paper away. Or you have to go and put it in the normal journals. So it's really important because you are trying to convince an editor to take your paper for review. So if the person read the paper and he's not seeing anything different from, and note that these people too are professors, Professor Emeritus, and those people, they know what they are doing. So they'll look through your work and they will see no new theory being proposed, no nothing. And then they'll bring your work back to you. So your study should change thinking or should contribute to thinking. It should inform policy. That one too is very important. They will reject your work based on your policy recommendation. Because at the end of your study, you will make policy recommendation. So if your policy recommendation is not feasible based on your analysis, if your policy recommendation is something which is already there, like countries should adopt renewable energy, everybody knows that countries should adopt renewable energy. So if you write a study and your conclusion is that we have seen that renewable energy is good, so countries should adopt renewable energy, then that moment they'll bring your work back. So strategies for generating novel concepts, how to get novel concepts. Okay, so we have the literature process, the white space analysis. Maybe if you finish the theories and we get time, we will experiment some of them and see. So literature, white space analysis, like using literature review to create a novel concept. White space analysis, to look for future work session in review article is very important. When you download any paper, they have directions for suggestions for future research. At the end, you go there. Maybe I've done political stability and energy, renewable energy. I've done it, I've published it. I will make recommendation that future research should explore how industrialization moderates the political economy and renewable energy. So you see, I've already written knowledge or produced knowledge on political stability and renewable energy. And I've recommended that future studies can check the role of industrialization or role of technological advancement in this area. So you can just go there and pick my concept, pick everything from that work, and then introduce technological advancement or industrialization into it, and you are good to go. You make argument that this study has done that, this study has done that, and your study is trying to check how industrialization or technological advancement help in this area or helped or moderate or changes this relationship, and you are good to go. You have your study. So most you can go to these top journals, pick a concept that has already been published, a paper published. The moment that paper is published, it means they need the topics. So you just have to introduce something new into the topic which has already been published. So if they have published AI and maybe AI and firm performance, they have published it there. Look at the suggestion for future studies. They will make suggestions there. Just take that suggestion and introduce it. So pick everything in that work and introduce the new variable they are suggesting or a new method. Maybe I did time series analysis. I did the study for Ghana. I would suggest that future studies can test this in maybe the whole of Africa or G7 countries or South America. I will make that suggestion. So you can pick that and go and test it in South America. It's a novel. It's a novelty. So literature reviews also help in those things. Identify unanswered questions in high impact papers. It comes back to the same thing. Every paper have limitations. Every paper will produce the limitations of that paper. So if you read the limitations, you see that, okay, the study skipped that. The study did not do that. The study did not do that. Then you do it. You do it. So if the study is leaving certain things unanswered, then you can answer that through the limitations of that study. And then contradiction, conflict identification. This one too is a very good way of creating novelty. Maybe this study, you have seen 2 or 3 studies on the same thing. This study found out that carbon emission is contributing to economic growth in maybe Ghana. Another study is also finding that carbon emission is contributing to a decline in economic growth. Why is this study finding this and this study is finding that? Why? Then you can also contribute to that discussion by maybe it's the methodology that they used. So this study used this method. Maybe this study used machine learning method and had this answer. This study also used system GMM and had this method, this result. Why? Then you can explain that differences by using different methods. Maybe you can go and use causal model to see what you will also find. So if you have a contradictory concept or a contradictory findings, you can explore that. So example, study A shows X, study B shows Y. No one has tested if the difference in the two is due to Z. Therefore, let me test Z. Please, do you understand what I'm saying? Someone should give me feedback on this one. Please, do you understand it?
Yes, please.
Okay. So contradictory findings, also, I mostly use this. I use this one a lot. You realize that someone will say that AI adoption will help increase student performance. If we allow students to use AI, it will increase their performance. Someone is also saying that AI adoption is doing that, is not letting the student learn. So it's contributing negatively. Why are they getting different results? Then maybe you look at the method they are using. Okay, this study used survey. This study also used maybe a longitudinal study. Then why should I also use interview or qualitative methods and analyze policy documents and those things to see maybe the difference is based on policy adoption? So maybe the countries that they used have different policies. So you can explore that using a different method to see the difference, why these 2 studies are giving contradictory findings. Okay, and then last one, context shifting. This one too is very important. Take an established concept and apply it in a new concept, population, setting, species, scale. So we mostly do that. I think recently we published a paper on the political economy paper I was talking about. We wrote it on G7, the G7 countries, which is United States, China, the UK, Italy, Brazil, and those countries. And we wrote the same study in BRICS. So, okay, you have tested these concepts on BRICS or G7 or G20 or Europe. You can pick the same concept and test it in Africa and see whether you have the same findings in Africa. So you can do context shifting, either the population, the setting, the species, the scale. You can do that, and it will help your paper to go through. That's some strategies to get a new concept. And then this thing to, should I get the problem first or should I get my methodology first? Like we said, we have new novelty, new methods, new theories, new data. So should I get the data first or should I get my concept or problem first? Each of them works. Okay, so someone is saying I should go over the context shifting. The context shifting, I'm saying that you can pick someone's study. If the study is limited to a particular setting, maybe someone has done a study on China. It means the findings is based on the data from China. And the study is really good to the extent that it has been published in a top journal. You can pick that study, you look at the data and everything the person used. Then you go and download that same data for Ghana. So maybe the person did it in China. You download similar data for Ghana and test that work. But you need to reference that work. That, okay, this person did this work. And this findings was very good. The recommendation and everything is good. But to adopt it in a developed economy, you want to test that study in this setting. That's what you are shifting the context. So instead of China, let me do it in Ghana and see. Instead of youth, maybe young adults, let me do it on older people and see. Maybe someone has published a paper on youth or students. Why can't I take that concept and test it on maybe workers? So someone did it on that. Let me test it on that and see whether it works. Please, Alute, is it okay? Alute, are you okay?
I'm
Okay.
okay.
Okay, so let me continue. Please, any other question? Okay. If there's no question, let's continue. So as I said, you either the problem first or the method first, but there should be balance. So you can start with a present real-world problem or theoretical problem, then seek to develop methods to address it. Maybe like the geopolitics I'm talking right now, it's a real-world problem or a pressing need. People need academic findings on it to read. So you can get your problem and look for a better method to suit it. Or you can start with a new method or a new technique and ask what problems can that technique solve. So maybe like Smart PLS was a new tool which was introduced to solve problems in the business field. So, or you have now learned how to use Smart PLS. So what problem can I use Smart PLS to solve? So you can get the tool or the statistical method and look for problems to solve with that method. Or you can look for the problem and look at tools or methods that you can use to solve. Okay. But there should always be a balance. Do not force one into the other. If the method is not fitting the problem, do not force it to fit. If the problem is also not fitting the method, do not force it, drop it. If not, you do a study. Novel combination, heuristics. So combining, that's what we talked about, the synthesis. The synthesis, combining two things to create a novelty or a novel concept. So combine two previously unrelated theories, methods, or phenomena. I think I've explained this. So what if I've written here, what if we apply network theory to classical archaeology theory? But we have a networking theory, how two things connect, and then maybe those into arts. They have the archaeology and those things. So can I combine these two things? I think recently, yes, we wrote a study on these two things, network theory and then network theory and trade. One of the theories in trade. We were looking at, because mostly when you hear networking theory, it is used in computer science. It is mostly used in computer science. But we brought the idea from networking theory that the position of countries, maybe where Ghana is situated, Ghana is here, Burkina Faso is here, Togo is here, Nigeria is here. We are looking at how the countries are connected. So how is that connection affecting the country's trade performance? So you see, the networking theory is from somewhere. You brought that theory, then you look for a theory relating to trade. So you bring that two theory. You use that two theories to create knowledge. Please, I hope, please, can you see my screen? Where am I on the slide? What can you see now?
Increase the
Novel
size of the web.
combination.
Novel combination.
But your
Yeah.
slides are a bit smaller, so increase the size.
Oh, okay. So why is this one showing strategies for generating novel concepts?
Your network.
I'm seeing different things. So if I move, it moves at your end. I want to know if I'm on the right path. So now you can see the concept to publishable topic.
Yeah.
So why is this
Yes.
one stuck on my screen? Okay, so let's go back here. I think, okay, so you can combine two theories, in networking theory and then different, because normally when you hear network, you think that is the relationship between people or the relationship, you see computer science, they do this kind of language writing, modeling and those things. They deal with more of connections and even humans relations and those stuff. But you can bring that network theory into economics or accounting or into education. You look at, we have something called the social network analysis. You can look at how schools are situated. Maybe when you go to Cape Coast, we have University of Ghana in Accra, University of Cape Coast in Cape Coast. We have Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Kumasi, Winneba, there's a university. You look at how the situation of these schools, it all comes back to network, how they are connected. You look at whether these situations, how they have been placed, is affecting student future work employment or employability. So you can adopt networking theory to explain why you are studying the situation. I think I did something like that in Ghana. I did a course in social network analysis, and our lecturer used that. He was trying to explain the free education, and he used social network analysis, talking about the situation or the placement of the secondary schools. So this secondary school is here, this secondary school is here, this secondary school is here. How they are connected. You can create indicators for it. Maybe 1 for Cape Coast, 2 for Accra, 3 for maybe Kumasi, 4 for Winneba. If you're in China, maybe 1 for Xi'an, 2 for Beijing, 3 for this place. So if the school is in Beijing, you give it 1. If the school is in Xi'an, you give it 2. you create such indicators, then you adopt networking theory to explain. It's very important. If your concept is not explained by a theory, your study will be rejected. Every concept, you should be able to explain your concept with a theory. So you can combine 2 or 3 theories to create a novelty. Or can machine learning predict philosophical argument validity? You see, mostly when you hear machine learning, you think about large volume of data, quantitative data, because machine learning needs large volume of data. So how can I bring machine learning, or how can I use machine learning to explain maybe certain arguments in philosophy? Because we know that philosophy mostly deals with textual data. So how can I use machine learning to explain this argument? It means you are bringing a methodology from a different angle to explain a concept or ideology or argument in a different angle. You combine the two, you are good to go. So in your field, you use different methods, combining different methods to explain different ideas. So leveraging technological and societal shifts. New technologies like AI, CRISPR, I think that one is is for the health people. Sensors create new research possibilities. So if there's introduction of new technology, and right now, as I said, AI and then generative AI, specifically generative AI, is more popular now, so you can explore it. Societal challenges. So climate change, inequality, pandemics, all these things demand novel interdisciplinary solutions, especially climate change and inequalities. The SDGs, is it SDG? Yeah, SDGs. They need studies on it. There are a lot of journals dedicated to SDGs, and a lot of studies has been written on climate change. It doesn't mean climate change is not needed again. We need new solutions from different disciplinaries. So maybe we know that climate change is more related to the business, finance people, and then the environment people, environmental science. But someone from, let's say, health can use different methods which he or she knows in health to explain climate change in a particular way that will contribute to the discussion of climate change. Pandemics, like I said, COVID-19, cholera, and those things. COVID-19 has passed, but we have post-restructuring because COVID-19 changed a lot of things. So now COVID-19 is no more. Even COVID-19 is still there, but just that it's not that popular like it used to. So you can write post-restructuring, management after COVID-19, firm management or firm restructuring, online buying. Now, online buying has become more popular after COVID-19. A lot of things has changed after COVID-19. Classroom performance, online lectures, all those things after COVID-19 has changed. So you can explore that with a different angle. And then I want us to end fast so that maybe we can do some small 10 minutes checks, practical checks, then we close. So from concept to publishable topic, scoping validation. How you can get a bigger concept, you break that concept down to a way you can publish it. So maybe you want to study democracy. Then you write that I want to write democracy and firm performance. When you say democracy, what is democracy? You can't study democracy. Democracy is too large or it's too wide for you to study. So you can narrow it down to, so maybe voting behavior, voting behavior of left-handed plumbers in one town, or you can select a specific town. So democracy is more about kebi, like sharing knowledge, voting. Democracy allows voting. So why don't you take the voting part of democracy and focus on it? Or you can break it down to the simplest form. Maybe example, how social media usage affects voting turnout among first-time voters in 3 democracies. You see, it's still democracy, but this one, when you see it, we know that you are talking about voting and social media. And even you are selecting only 3 democracies, maybe 3 countries, which practice democracy and study them. You can't study all countries practicing democracy. So you make your topic very, very, very narrow so that everyone can follow the conversation. You can't say that conducting a study of democracy and voting performance. What do you mean by democracy? You should bring your topic down. So validation checklist, when you start literature search, is this truly underexplored? Verify that your topic, no one has done it. Go online, search, go to Web of Science, search, go to Scopus, search that has this topic already been done. If it has been done, look at the way it was done. Can I change it? Can I modify it? Can I add this? Don't just assume that the topic came to your head. Now it means it's novel. And we said earlier, every year there's over 4 million papers published every year. And you are saying that your topic, you are just assuming that your topic is novel. So every year, 4 million papers, 10 years, 40 million papers are out. And you are saying that your topic is novel just because you are the one saying it. No, you have to check online. Go to databases like Elsevier database, Wiley databases, or Google Scholar is even okay. You check Google Scholar, look at what has already been done. Go to Web of Science, check. Go to Scopus, check. Okay, so what? So what test? So clearly articulate the potential contribution to knowledge. Think about, so this study, what am I contributing? If I do it, am I contributing to any theory? Am I contributing to any methodology? What knowledge is this research trying to create? If you realize that you are not creating any knowledge, drop it. And audience fit is very, very important. Which journal or conference committee will care? This one too, if you use it, it will help you. So if you have your audience, maybe you want to study a particular topic, think about the journal you want to take that topic to. So maybe I want to take my topic to energy or energy policy, or maybe business strategy. You go and read their how do you call it? You go and read their studies, their published studies, and look at their aim and scope and see that, okay, let me fit my study here. Let me fit my study here. If you do that, it helps you to avoid scope deviation, because you can take your paper to a lot of journals and they will bring it back that your paper is out of scope. Your paper is out of scope. It's very important, so you have to check it. Resource check. Yes, I talked about, do you have, or you can get data, skills and equipment and time. Those things are for those who are into health. The skills, equipment, and the time you need. The health people, you will need lab test, and those things. Do you have the equipment to perform those things? If you are doing survey work, do you have the time to collect the data or consider that? But the main important thing is availability of data. If you don't have data for that topic, it's better you drop it, because you waste your time to polish everything and you stuck. So always, the moment you have the concept, look at the data you can use before you proceed. and ethical and safety consideration. This one too is very key when it comes to primary data. Primary data. Studies that require survey question. Maybe you want to study children, primary school students, or even disability, disabled people. And I say you want to study sick people, people with maybe HIV, sorry, or a particular kind of disease. All those things require ethical clearance, especially survey works. It requires ethical clearance. So you have to know that, will I get ethical clearance from my university? Because if you don't get it, your work will not be accepted, especially those who are into health and education, those who study childhood education and those things. If you are writing a work and you want to do primary study, think about whether the work will have ethical implications. If it will have ethical implications, that means you will need ethical clearance from your university. And those things, it takes a lot of time. So you can start early and apply for the ethical clearance. So by the time you finish your paper, maybe it will also be ready. Then you attach it to your submission. If not, they will reject your work. So framing for publication success. Align with journal priorities. Study recent special issues. We will explore that. Maybe our time is even up. Editorials and highly cited papers in a target journal is very important. Special issues. That's one of the main ways or method that I use. Special issues. You go to the journal, check their special issues, pick a concept from there, then write it. The moment it is there as special issue, it means the journal needs that paper. Then frame your work to match the journal's language. That one too is very important. The importance of a concept paper. When you start, write 2 to 3 page outline. Maybe a small problem, a gap, proposed method that you want to use, and your expected outcome. This one, you are doing it for yourself, or you can do it and show it to someone. Don't write like 20 pages and go and show it to someone. Just a small 1 page or 2 page, like maybe your topic, your proposed topic, the problem you want. So today, this will be our assignment. Please take note. We will ask about it next, maybe either tomorrow or next week, maybe next week. Write a concept paper, 2 to 3 pages. But let me put it into the chat box so that you know that you're near break. So this is a bit of exercise. Let me put it that way. It's not a homework, it's exercise. So get a concept and write a concept paper. The problem you are trying to solve, the gap, and the method you think is suitable for that, and the expected outcome. Please don't go and give it to AI to write it. I don't have problem with the writing, using AI to write the writing, but if it's something you own it, you will know that this is the problem I want to solve. Not AI is telling you that your study will solve this problem. Explore, ensure that there's a gap somewhere that your study is going to fail. Please don't go and give it to AI. Please say, yeah, this topic, what problem or gap it is it is failing. You know AI there. For AI, anything that you give to AI, it will have novelty for you. Anything, just give it to like AI. What's the novelty of this? Just give your name to AI. That what's this? My name is contributing to. It will give you what it is contributing to. But please get a concept and write 2 to 3 page outline, and like 2 to 3 sentences for the problems, the gap, and maybe state the approach or the method you think is suitable to use, and maybe the expected outcome and the small significance of that study. So maybe a page or a half page is even enough. KB and Edwin, please, in next week lecture, kindly remind me. I will request it, or you can give update on that on the page. We will need it. We will discuss it 30 minutes before we begin next week's lecture. Yes, I think that will help. Alute even suggested that we do that. It will help us. So after you do the concept paper, this is the lecture. This is not the assignment. After doing the concept paper, you can show it to senior researchers or your colleagues who are already in the industry. Okay, what do you think about this concept? What do you think about this concept? Please, what do you think? What should I add? What should I take out from it? And then, yes, this small case example. This small case, but I think it was more health because I didn't want to make it economics. So I tried to blend some small health so that will benefit those coming from the health. So maybe how fMRI can be combined with cognitive linguistics. So you see how fMRI can be combined with cognitive linguistics to explain neurolinguistics. So how this thing, as I said earlier, how can school placement or institutional placement combine with a different idea, or how networking can be combined with school placement to explain student performance or WASI performance or academic performance, how country placement can be combined with trade to explain the country's economic. So that COVID-19 pandemic sparring novel vaccine platform, you can conduct a research on that. So the quick exercise, we will drop this one and use the previous one, the concept paper. So apply one strategy. A novel idea. So I think the slides has ended. Any question? Any question? Please, I'm taking questions. Before then, maybe I will show just one way of 2 ways, then we close. Any question on all that we have explained on concept development? Okay. If there's no question, then I think we can proceed. So let me see if I'll have a study here, then we all look at it and see the concept we have. If you have a question, you can unmute and ask this. Okay, so if there's no question, then let's look at this work and let me explain what I meant by the future studies. Then maybe please, I'm sharing a paper. Hope you can see it. Please, can you see the paper I'm sharing?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. So this is a paper published from the team recently, and that's the paper I was using to explain the geopolitics I was talking about. So this study was done on political economy and renewable energy adoption, geopolitical risk, and political stability. So if you are looking for a concept, let's look at this paper, concept that you can pick from. So let me look at the theoretical side and let's see the theories we combined to create this study. Please, the one who has unmuted, do you have a question? Okay, so this is the theoretical background. So you see that the theoretical background, we used this study formulate combined theoretical model that integrates resource dependency theory, institutional theory, and then innovation systems theory. So you see that there's 3 theories combined here. So the study makes a contribution to knowledge by combining theoretical 3 theories, which is resource dependency, institutional theory, and innovation system theory. Each of the theory explains something. It's not just about putting the theories together, but you have to put it together to underpin your study or explain your study. So resource dependency is a theory that explains something. Institutional theory explains something. Innovation system theory. Please, who has unmuted? Irene. Okay, I'll be able to mute. Yes. If you have a question, then you unmute, then you ask. So please, this is a sample of what I was saying. 3 theories combined to create one study. So you can combine theories. So you see that the resource dependency was explaining the geopolitics, the geopolitical risk index. Sorry, yes, it was explaining the geopolitical index. And then we have the solar, onshore, and hydropower, which talks about renewable energy adoption. So institutional theory was explaining the political stability index. So you can't just bring political stability index just like that. It should be explained by a theory. Institutional structures, this theory explains that. And the innovation system theory also explains technological innovation. So if resource dependency is explaining geopolitical index, innovation system is explaining political stability, then the innovation system theory is explaining the moderator, which is the technological innovation. So we combine these 3 to test. Okay. And lastly, this is what I was also talking about. If you pick any study, you can check this place. Limitations and suggestions for future research. This study scope is limited to Gen 7. So we have stated that the study focused on only Gen 7 and 3 renewable technologies, which is solar, wind, and hydropower, potentially limiting generalizability to developing economies and emerging renewable technologies. So you see, we focused on developed countries, which is Gen 7. So we are stating that the findings from this study cannot be, or there should be limitations when you are generalizing it to developing countries like Ghana. The use of geopolitical index as a unified variable may oversimplify. You see, we talk about answering questions which studies did not. It's also a gap. So you see, we have stated that the use of geopolitical index as a unified variable may oversimplify the concept of geopolitics. See, when we talk about geopolitics, it covers a lot of things: military power, trade, tariffs, trade, a lot of things comes into geopolitics. But this study, we used an index which has been created by someone. Then we used it. It means that we will not get the individual component of geopolitics. So it's a limitation. It's a question that this study did not answer. So you can go and look at what are the components of geopolitics. When you say geopolitics, what does it mean? Then instead of using a one index, you would rather use the component of geopolitics so that you can get the individual effects. And then we made suggestions for future research based on the limitations. We suggested that future research could examine other OECD or regionally proximate countries to assess whether the observed relationship hold in similar contexts, thereby enhancing the generalizability and policy relevance. That's it. Then you get your study. So instead of doing for Gen7, you go and do for OECD countries. Then you justify that this study did it in Gen7, and we are testing it in OECD countries or neighbors of these countries. And then we also suggested that studies can examine additional renewable technologies like offshore wind and energy storage systems and incorporate a longer time series to capture evolving geopolitical dynamics. So as I said, the study focused on only solar power, hydropower, and wind power. Even the wind, the study used onshore wind. So we suggested that future studies can do more because we have a lot of renewable energies. We have a lot of renewable energies like this thing, I've forgotten it. There are a lot of renewable energy facilities. You can do for the others, you can do for offshore wind, yes. This study used onshore wind. You can do for offshore wind. And then what again did this study suggest? Future research could explicitly incorporate structural break tests to further refine the analysis. So structural break is also a methodology. So we suggested that future studies can also use structural break tests. So you can just pick this study, adopt everything in the paper, and just do structural breaking or structural break tests, and that's it. You can even do for the same Gen7 and incorporate structural breaks because the study has suggested it. And then what again? Studies investigating subnational variations, private sector responses to geopolitical risk, and the role of international cooperation mechanism would provide valuable insights. You see, so the study is suggesting that instead of doing Gen7 as a combined or as a aggregate, you can break it down to subnational analysis. You can do it country level. You can combine like 4 countries and do it country level analysis, and you do comparatives. You can do private sector responses to geopolitical risk. So now you pick geopolitical risk, you pick private sector investment, you check it and see. Then you make reference to this study. And what again? International corporations, mechanisms would provide more value. And then future research would also model the short and long run. So this, I remember this statement. It's a reviewer who even said it. A reviewer said that we used the Cochrane method, which is static model. It measures the model in a static way. So we should either add short run and long run analysis, or we should suggest in the suggestion for future research so that future research will do it. Then we did it. So we suggested that future research can model short and long run among variable models such as ARDL, PMG, AMG, CCEMG models. Future research can also disaggregate geopolitical index into each component, such as wars, sanctions, trade disputes, to know their differential impacts. So you see, there are like 10 studies from this part. There are 10 studies from this part. So you can pick the same thing, and instead of using the geopolitical index that this study used, you can rather use wars, sanctions, trade disputes, then you model them to know their differential impact. Okay, I think our time is up for that one. And then let me show the last one, which is on the special issue. So okay, so this journal, the journal which published this paper is Journal of Environmental. So let me show this one, then we close. So let me use Energy Economics. Every journal have that, and every paper have what I just explained. You can just look at that in your field. If you're in accounting, go to Accounting Journal, download the paper, look at their limitations, and you are good to go. And develop your concept from the limitations. Okay, so let me share this screen. Where's my Please hope you can see the website I've opened.
Yes, we can see now.
Okay. So let's do this, then we end. I think our time is past. So this is a journal, Energy Economics. This is if it's not number one, it will be number 2. Journal in economics, specifically energy economics, energy, renewable energy. This journal is one of the top journals, if not one, then 2. So if you open any journal like this, journal website like this, you can come down. When you come down, you see read latest issue, call for papers. When you see this call for papers, it means they need those papers. If you come down to, you will see special issue article collection. Special issue. Even if you will not publish in that journal, you can pick the concept from there. So looking for concepts here does not mean specifically this is the journal or this is the journal you have to publish inside. No. If a journal like Energy Economics has placed this topic there, it means they need that topic. So if you can write a paper on it and take it to a different journal, you can bring it to the same journal. So you see there are some topics here, call for papers, a conference on climate policy, commodity market and adaptation. Though it's a conference, but you can pick it. So if you open it, details will be there. So this is a special issue. You see topics of interest. I want to show you something here. I think one study, I pick a study from here. You see the number 6. Please, have you seen the number 6? The one I've highlighted.
Yes.
You see the study I just used as example to explain the geopolitical paper this is where I picked the concept from. You see the number 6, energy transition and geopolitical shift. Exploring how global transition to renewable energy alters geopolitical dynamics, reduces dependency on fossil fuels, and reshapes energy security risk. So I picked the concept from here and I changed it. Like I modeled it in a different way and I wrote it. So you see, household responses to climate change, commodity price volatility. This is a topic. You can pick it. Maybe if it is too big for you, you take some from it. So firm level responses to volatile commodity markets, the finance people, analyzing firm level pricing strategies. All these are topics. And this one is what I used. I used to write one of my papers, the one I just showed. And I think this one too, policy uncertainty and energy markets. I've written a study too on this, but that one was policy uncertainty and renewable energy. You can pick a study here. They have explained everything there. These are all novel studies. You can come here, the the evolution of economics of climate change, the evolution of economics of climate change mitigation. Those who are into climate change, Same, my boss, you can come here, then special issue, the specific topics are here. Cost-benefit analysis of renewable energy, financial mechanism. I
Yeah,
can
we
pick
did.
this. So you can come here and look for a topic. Economics of climate finance, green bond, international aid, carbon market. It's a topic. You just look for a methodology and a data for it. You are good to go. Non-Western views on climate policy, Islamic finance, Buddhist economics. These are all studies, novel studies. You come down here, special issue, climate change and green transition, the role of heterogeneous agents and nonlinear economic dynamics. All these are studies which they are calling for. Maybe let's try one accounting journal and see, or finance. Journal of Finance. Journal of Finance and Economics is one top journal. Okay, let's try this journal. It's Journal of Financial Economics. So if you open the journal, come down. Special issue. You see there's a special issue here. Just open it. Money payment and financial market infrastructure. Financial intermediation. Decentralized finance and other application of blockchain. Cybersecurity, privacy, and trust in finance. You pick one of them, you go and add a country to it, adopt a methodology, restructure it well, and now you are good to go. If you are in health, go to health journal. Let me see if I will get one health journal. Then that's where you get novel studies to write. Or you can look at some of their latest publications. So you see this journal, this is their, let's look at this journal, their latest publications. So their latest publication, Energy Bill Pressure Stimulate Investment Intention Primary for High Socioeconomic Household in Australia, Firm Climate Investment. So you see that their studies, this is the trend it is going. Hey, why is my network not working? So Journal of Health. Then Accra is in health. No, I don't want health economics. Economics is too much. Okay, health and social behavior. Okay, SAGE. Let me see SAGE and see. Okay, so after here then. Okay, so we will end here. I think my network is even not strong. We will end that lecture here and take like 2 minutes question, then I end it. Any question on what we have done? Sage is not opening, so we will put end here. Please, which paper? Is it the
Your paper, the one you were showing us before.
the geopolitical paper?
Yeah, the geopolitical.
Yes, I will share it. But that one too is a close access paper, so I will share the link so you go and read. If I also share the file, please don't share it because it's a
Okay.
subscription-based paper. Yes, so I will share the paper.
Sure.
Please, any question? Let me see if I can share it before I forget. Any question, please, you can ask. Then we bring the session to an end in 2 minutes. I think we have exceeded our time because of I allowed the time because we used some of the time for discussion. That's why we have exceeded it. Is there any question? You can also, if you are too shy to ask, then you can also type in the text box and we will answer it for you. Any question? Okay. So I think we are all good. So tomorrow we will meet. Tomorrow we will meet. We are looking for a resource person to come and do some analysis with us. If we don't get it, the resource person, then we will take matters into our own hands, and then we perform some econometric analysis on what we have done. The Smart PLS, we are done with the Smart PLS. We have done the mediation and moderation analysis. We will share the link to the video within the week so that you can have access to it. But please use it. It will help you. Smart PLS. If you have your data, the only problem with that is having the data. If you have your data, you can develop any concept that you like. Because like the data, we were talking about data issues. But if you're writing a primary data, you are the one going to collect your own data. So you can write any concept, you can develop any concept that you want because you are going to collect your data. But if you're using secondary data, you are limited to the available data. You can have a good concept, but you don't have data for the concept. That means you have to drop it. That means you have to drop the data.